Hey traders, welcome back for another BrightFunded Funded Trader interview. Here at BrightFunded, you can trade up to $400,000 once you pass your evaluation phases and become a funded trader. I'm Eduardo, the host for the interview, and today I've got the pleasure of speaking to one of our funded traders, Kabil. So without further ado, let's dive straight in. Hey traders, welcome back for another BrightFunded Funded Trader interview. Today I've got the pleasure of interviewing Kabil. So Kabil, thank you so much for your time today. It would be great if we could just get a very brief introduction about yourself, maybe who you are, what you do in like your day-to-day life, and maybe how long you've been trading for as well. So yeah, all yours, man.
Thank you for the invitation. First of all, my journey has been quite a long journey for trading. So I come from France, as you can hear as my accent, right?
Yeah.
And I did a master's degree in corporate finance actually. So this is nothing to do with the forex market and the trading. But then I realized quickly that it wasn't really what made me happy. So I started to look at trading. But to tell you exactly, so maybe traders behind the screen can relate a bit to my story. In September 2023, I first learned about trading. So in September 2023, I didn't even know like what lot mean, like trading a lot. I had no idea basically. So I really came from nothing in trading. I had to learn everything, And it has been a quick journey in terms of time span, because September 2023 doesn't seem like a long time ago actually. But when I go through my memories, everything, the whole journey, it feels like it has been 10 years.
No, I know what you mean. 2 years of trading time is like 10 years of like actual real life time. But that's really interesting. So you've only been in the game for nearly 2 years now. So what got you into trading? What were you doing beforehand? And what actually led you to becoming a trader?
So beforehand, I was actually working as a finance manager, in a startup, in a startup. So I was basically like a financial controller and doing lots of some accounting, etc. And then I realized, as I said, it was not made me happy, So I started to look at financial trading, because trading is always what I wanted to do with my life actually. But I don't know, around 19, 20 years old, I started to go toward the corporate finance direction.
Yeah.
Then when you do 1 year, 2 year, 3 years of studying, and then you kind in that path, so it's hard to go back,
Yeah.
But I actually did my master's degree, and then I did like 2-3 years of experience in that field. I started as a junior controller, then I started as controller, then I did the finance and management. So like I did 3 steps in that career. And then I went back to trading because this is always what I wanted to do basically, and I like the freedom basically. I'm not a big seller. I'm not going to tell you otherwise. So I knew that if I was going to go on my own path, I will try to avoid selling things to people, So basically, I thought to myself, trading, it's a real skill. I always treat it like a real skill, because it's a real job, So I knew that I had to go back from scratch, and learn basically a new job.
Yeah, I can appreciate that a lot, because I think a lot of people get trapped in the corporate ladder, and once you get on that ladder, it's very hard to get off the ladder. So I can imagine during your journey, was it quite difficult for you to balance both, like learning how to trade and also your job?
Right. It was actually very difficult, and me at September 2023, I was still in my financial management job, and it took me like roughly 10 to 12 hours a day working in that office, because it was a small startup. It was not a big company, and when you work in that kind of area, a small startup, you work a lot, and I was just behind the CEO of the company. So I had a lot of time shift in the day, and so I would go back to my home at like 9 p.m. and then I would just sleep and go back again the next day, because I had no free time basically. So what I did was during even lunchtime, during that time, I was trying to see the charts and how trading goes, and I was just basically at that time I was working nonstop, between my job and the trading, and at that time I got married also.
Oh wow!
So,
Congrats! Congrats!
so it was a very hard time and long time for me, to be honest, because it was long hours of work, honestly.
Yeah, that must have been really. Yeah, literally, you had no time to yourself but to work and learn, and then of course your marriage as well would have taken up some time too. So yeah, that must have been a really difficult period. So in terms of the trading, then I'm guessing based on the time factor, were you doing more sort of swing trading, or like what was the initial strategy that you learned?
Honestly, I didn't follow any advice from people, because I'm someone that needs to do to
learn
and then learn. So I went directly to demo trading, and I started to do things on my own. And I was an amateur, so in my head I was thinking like I need to reach 100% win.
Yeah.
Taking back to it had not sense, so I was basically risking 5% to gain 1.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Wow.
This is a terrible strategy, right? This is a terrible strategy to anyone that's listening to us. I strongly
advise against it.
Yeah, strongly, because the bad part is you think you're winning until you're not.
Yeah, because one loss could just wipe out. Oh my god, yeah, I can imagine.
This is probability, right? You're going to have 2-3 straight loss, and it will kill your capital. This is absolutely not the way to go.
Yeah.
And so I try to improve the learning of the chart. So what I did was I only focused on gold and US30. I was not looking at EURUSD or any other forex pairs, and this is my advice to people, to really focus on 1, 2, maximum 3 pairs, because basically at one time I knew exactly why it went that way and when it will go this way, and you never know why basically, but you start to see patterns, because the more you put into it, and the more you see the charts, and the more you start to realize, patterns, and sometimes it's very volatile, so you don't really know why, but you based on probability, you start to know, oh, there is pretty good chance now, because I've seen this times before that it will go this way or that way. And so my strategy went really good when I started to have a high risk reward ratio. So I started to implement at least, I started to begin with 1 to 3. Risk 1 to gain 3. Then I improved to 1 to 5. And then when I started to feel better with my psychology, sometimes honestly I can risk 1 to gain 7 or 8 or 10% sometimes, because I feel so confident in my entry. I don't recommend to entry level trader, because a lot of time you can put the stop loss at break even, or you can trail the stop loss as the trade goes in profit. But a lot of times when you feel good about your entry, you don't even need to trail the stop loss, right? You just have to put the entry, and that it was going to be the target, because you see so many signs, and sometimes you go the resistance, and then you go, so you basically know that you just have to hold it, right? But it's very difficult, especially when you're beginning, because sometimes when I begin, I hit 1-to-1 ratio, and then when it starts to retrace back a bit, I will shake myself and I close.
Okay, then you close it a bit. Yeah. You don't let it breathe.
Yeah, and a lot of time it will, because it will never go straight to the targets, unless you're trading in euros. But I don't recommend you to trade euros, honestly.
Yeah.
So it will never go straight to the target. So you have to, with the experience, have to manage your trade and manage your emotions, most important.
Yeah, I think that touches on a good point, and that's actually really interesting. So I want to know a bit more about your strategy. So currently, because from what I understand, you pretty much did a test and learn approach, where you go onto the charts, you look at pretty much analyze patterns, and you go from there, take trade, back test, journal, and so forth. So what does your current strategy look like today? If I had to ask you to describe an A+ setup, what does it look like?
Honestly, I'm going to tell you honestly, I don't have like a strategy basically based on indicators, but what I trade is based on my experience and what I've seen from the charts over the years. So basically what I do, I'm in France, so I'm in French time. So I wake up to the chart like 8 a.m. I think 1 hour before London session. So it's 7 p.m. UK. And usually the Asian time is giving you, a hint to where I'm talking about the gold, right? Where the gold will go. So you start to look at Asia station and you go to H1 and G1. And first of all, when you wake up, you have to think about yourself. Am I buying or am I selling? And you have to analyze the overall patterns, right, of the chart. Because I see a lot of people, they jump from buy to sell to buy to sell, but you have to have like at least for my strategy for 1-to-5, 1-to-10 ratio. You know that you're not scalping 5 pips, 10 pips. You're scalping at least 20-25 points in gold, and 20-25 points in gold. This only goes with the overall trend, right? So you start to look at the overall trend, where you think the 20-25 pips will go, points will go, without touching your stop loss. Because if you do 1-to-10, the stop loss is very tight, right? So you have to have very good entry. And for that, when I decided if I'm going to buy or sell for the day, I'm start to go to M5. And I start to look at patterns that would give me a good hint that, for example, it will go for buy or sell without touching my stop loss. Because earlier when I wanted to, for example, go to 1-to-5 ratio, you have to have a tight stop loss, because usually I can close my trade before the end of the day, right? So I cannot have too much of a stop loss. So I have to have a pretty tight, like I would say between 4 points, around that, 4 points stop loss. I think it's okay, roughly around that. And then you start and then you start to look at the overall trend, and you have to know if it will start to retrace back to the loss, or it's just a retracement to go even more in your profit, and this goes with the experience, because I don't trail the stop loss. I don't trail the stop loss, because if I trail the stop loss, honestly, I think my profit will be divided by 2. So this is mostly price action, based on price action and how I feel about the trade, whether it will, because sometimes you can see 2, 3, 4% in profit, and then if you do nothing, it will go against you, and then you will lose the and so you do have to know when to close and when to let it go. And only thing is to practice in demo. For me, I think what worked for me was practicing demo.
Definitely. So in terms of that, so when, let's say, your trade goes into 4 or 5 R profit, do you bring your stop loss to break even at least, or do you just leave it regardless?
Honestly, at first I would go to break even now, but I had 3 trades that still have in my mind, that will go between. Yeah, right. That will go slight loss and then go back to profit. So since that time, I don't even put it in stop loss, because realistically, I only risking like small portion of the balance. So sometimes I'm even more happy to not have that break even and take that small loss, because I know that it can cost you, if you go to break even, okay, you saved 1%, for example, or 0.5%, but then you miss 10% because sometimes it goes back to the right?
Yeah.
So for me, at least for me, what I do is not put it, I just let it go, but I watch the chart all the time. Some traders tell you, I analyze the chart for 10 minutes, I press the trade, and I go with my day. This is not what I do. Why? Because I need to close it when I feel it. First of all, because I don't have a specific target. When I feel it, I close it. And secondly, because the market is evolving consistently. Now, when I looked at gold when you were 32 years ago, it was way different than now. Way different. Even the range is different. The way it behaves is different. you know. Of course, it was always volatile, but so many things change. So you always have to be up to date with the charts. It's very important, because if I would just put my trade and don't go with my day, I think my results will be very, very different, honestly.
Okay, that's interesting. So how much time you spend on the charts now then?
I do that full time, actually. I do
Full
that
time?
full time. Yeah, I do that full time for a year now.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah, I do that. I'm my only income. I don't have other income. I'm only trading full time, and I would say 9-10 a day.
9 to 10
A day.
hours?
Yes, hours
Oh, wow, a day?
a day. Yes.
Oh, wow.
I'm very passionate about it. I don't recommend to people to do that if they don't want. But for me, what
Yeah,
worked,
you love it.
I was doing that, losing money.
Yeah. Yeah, fair. So when it comes to winning money now,
Right. I was spending all this time losing money, and I was unemployed
yeah.
because I quit my job in what I was working before, and then I was just doing that. So I was doing that, unemployed and full time. So now that that is working, so of course I'm going to do. I should be even more, And the good thing is for traders, you have to know how to win. Because sometimes you will hit one good trade, two good trade, and then you start to think, "Wow, I'm so good trader," and then you start to disrespect the market,
Yeah.
And you start disrespecting the market, and say, "Oh, wow, okay, I understand. I saw the chart 5 minutes, A plus the trade. I don't care, I go with my day." It's not working like that, because the market will make you pay for it. This is all what I'm telling you is from experience, how I feel it. Some people may see it differently, but for me, although I spend maybe more than 1,000 hours trading, in less than 2 years, though. So I can tell you my experience from me.
No, I just want to say, first off, I want to say congratulations, because to go from not knowing anything, for example, not knowing a lot size, to becoming a full-time trader within the space of 24 months is incredible. So huge kudos to you. I think that's a lot of people's dreams. So you're definitely living it. So to touch on that journey then, when you were still unprofitable, what do you think was the key in helping you get over that obstacle? What helped you go from unprofitable to profitable, or unprofitable to break even, and then break even to profitable?
Two things mainly. Psychology, because before, when I risk 5 to 1%, a loss would be devastating in my psychology. I would feel very devastated and say why I lost, and And second thing is psychology, how to lose and why you lost. You have to analyze everything. I lost a trade. I try to see back on the chart why I lost, and I see to trace back and see what I could have done differently. I never lose a trade and I say, oh well, it's lost, too bad, see you tomorrow. I never do that. So I feel bad to myself, even when I'm risking 0.5%, 1%, whatever. I have to know why it lost and what I would have done differently. Every trade that I do, I don't do a lot of trade. I'm trying to 1 to 3 trades a day maximum. I don't trade too much. Honestly, I don't like it. So I try to have very good entries, because I do big ratios, so I have to have good entries. And other very important thing is the risk reward. What changed very, very is the risk reward. When I was risking 5 to 1, and then when I started to even go to 1 to 3 at the beginning, it was very different results. Very different, because at the beginning you start to care about the win rate, right? You want to have the higher win rate, and this is very, very, very bad strategy to have. You have to have at least 1 to 3. If you can aim with the experience, 1 to 5, 1 to 10. But as I said, sometimes I aim, for example, a 1 to 10, and I close to 1 to 6, because from experience, I know that start to retrace, but I know that eventually it will go back to close to 0, even hit my stop loss, So before it happens, and sometimes I'm wrong, sometimes I'm not wrong, but you have to feel, the market, because when you have a fixed target price, what will happen is, for example, you say, I want to have 1 to 6, 1 to 7, and then it will go to 1 to 5, 1 to 4, and then you start to feel like it retrace a bit, and then boom, it go back to your stop loss. But you could have stopped it earlier because you were so focused in your head to go to the 1 to 6, and you say, okay, I'm not leaving it to 1 to 6, So this is a psychology thing. Also, the big risk reward ratio is a lot of psychology and experience as well.
Yeah. So do you think if you had to pin that down to a reason, so when you say psychology, is it would you say it's greed? Would you say it's fear? What emotion would you say was the hardest to overcome when it comes to referring to psychology?
Honestly, I was fearing of missing gains. So, when you don't earn money at all, and it's your first account, etc., you want to save. You see plus 3%, you want to save this plus 50%. Say, okay, I have my entry, I get my 3%. Okay, I'm good. I'm done for the day. And you start to breathe a little bit, even if it's not a big risk, right? But at least you had this few percent, right, in.
Yeah.
So it was really the fear of not saving the gains. Sometimes when I began, I saw plus 3%, plus 2%, plus 4%, and I wanted this 4% to go in my balance. I didn't want to stay in the equity, So I would just close it. But a lot of time when I closed my trade, I realized that if I didn't do it, I would have 1, 2 to 3 times more. But this is in theory, this is easy, but in reality, this is so difficult, because sometimes you can feel like it will go forever and then retrace and you lost half of what you did. So people might tell you to trail the stop loss. I don't recommend it because if I trail the stop loss, I will lose more than leaving it. But it depends on your entry, basically. And for me, most important is the timing of your entry. If you risk this big, because most of people, what they do, they try to trade on the breakout, for example, and they try to trade actually when the movement actually happens. So even if you're buying and the gold, for example, is going up, but you enter too late because you enter when you see the movement, but it's already too late. Why it's too late? Because it will never go up that way. It will always retrace. And when it retraces, it will hit your stop loss. Yeah. When it retraces, it will hit your stop loss. So you have to know, even if the movement is already here, you have to wait and say, okay, I see this big green candle, for example. Okay, let's breathe, let's see. Because this big green candle, most of the time, it will retrace back and enter, for example, a fair value gap or whatever it is. That sometimes it can go up there, but this is experience. I cannot even put it in words. This is why it's very important to see the charts by yourself and analyze every tick, minutes by minutes, and you have to know basically and feel it. It's a real feeling.
Yeah. So it's just like the experience over time. Essentially, you become disciplined to not listening to your emotion and seeing that the results, based on the results, it's better if I don't trail it. Even when the candles are printing red, have faith in your strategy, let it run, let it breathe, and eventually it'll go to where it needs to go.
Exactly.
So 100%. Discipline is the key, I think. Okay, cool. To not change the subject, but when you were initially starting out, I know you started on demo. Did you go from demo to personal capital, or did you go from demo straight to prop firm challenges?
When I first learned about trading, I learned directly about prop firm basically the same day. I learned about the prop firm, and then I knew about trading obviously from a long time ago, but I never went back into it. So in my focus, it was always finding trading for prop firm. It was never in my head trading for my personal capital. I always wanted to trade for prop firms since that time. And but I didn't jump right into prop firms. I tried to do demo, And then when I feel a bit confident, I start to go with smaller accounts, etc., to not have so much risk, But even going with Proprim accounts, the psychology was completely different than demo. It's completely different. When I tell you that, sometimes you want to save the percentage, in demo you would say, okay, let's see where it goes. But in Proprim, you plus 2%, you want to save it. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to bank it straight away. Yeah.
It was my very the main issue I had when I started to trade in Proprims compared to the demo. So that's why I think combination of the two is best, because sometimes you will be so good in demo, but then when you start to go in real condition, you start to sweat more, than when
the heart beats a bit faster.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. When you were doing these Proprim challenges, did you have much any beginner's luck or any success early on, or did you just fail a lot of challenges?
No, honestly, I started to trade on Proprim maybe on November 2023, so pretty much 2 to 3 months after I was trading in demo. But the risk reward was not good, obviously. So I will take sometimes I will blow challenge, but risking 5% to gain 1. So I will be stuck in a challenge for 3 months, sometimes.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I will still blow it, because my strategy did not make any sense, honestly. So I was not doing well at all, and I started to be a funded trader in June 2024.
Okay, so literally 12 months ago.
Yeah, 12 months ago, and but when I started to feel better and have more experience, etc., I started to get more accounts, etc., and more payouts, and it started to accumulate pretty fast. Yes.
Okay, that's awesome, man. So essentially, you went from November till June, so maybe 7 months to become a funded trader. That's really good.
Yeah. 7 months. Yes.
Yeah. And so when did you first hear about BrightFunded then? Was the first account you were on with BrightFunded, or did you go with a few different firms and then eventually you found out about BrightFunded?
So I went to a few different firms first, and then I started to learn about BrightFunded. I think because I was starting to look other prop firms, and I first saw you guys on YouTube, I think, and then I went to Prop Firm March. You were listed there, and I started to see a lot of good reviews. Then I see people working there, and I saw everybody getting paid, and I say, yeah, it seems like. And I start to analyze the rules, and I say, okay, yeah, it seems like a very legit company, and I start to talk with the support, and I had a good feeling, so I decided to give it a try. And honestly, it's been only amazing. I was paid only on time, I got no restriction at all. I got multiple payouts, and trading conditions are very good, honestly speaking, because I'm funded trader on the 5 other port firms, and I honestly, my favorite, almost all the top for me, honestly speaking, it's BrightFunded, because I have the deep knowing that I will get paid, and for traders this is very, very important. Obviously you have rules to follow, but this is like every other firms, you have to follow the rules, and if you trade really, you will get paid. So this is for traders, this is most important.
Yeah, no, that honestly makes us so happy to hear, because that's literally what we're all about and are trying to preach, just the trust and transparency, because traders have it really hard. We know it's really difficult. So as long as you guys are able to trust in our services, and again, as you just mentioned, we're really happy that you're getting everything in return as you expect, and you don't ever need to worry or stress that, for example, a payout might not come, because it's going to come. Yeah. So yeah, man, that's really good. I'm glad you enjoyed the experience so far. So out of curiosity, when did you first get funded with BrightFunded?
I think it was not so long ago. Actually, it was 2 months ago.
Oh, nice.
It was 2 months ago, yeah, and it was 2 months. Yeah, I think it was 2 months ago, And but I stopped trading for 3 weeks in April because I went 2 weeks in April because I went to vacation. Then when I came back, I went back. So actually, of really trading, yeah, I would say 2 months around that. But honestly, when I go to trade, so very good experience and very good, time and most important is to have good trading condition and getting paid at time. So it was a short time, but for the payout that I managed to get, it was, and I was very happy, obviously, because I don't tell you, but this week I was in top 2 of the top traders. So I was very happy when I saw that.
I saw that. Yeah, no, huge congrats, man. You're honestly, you're just smashing it. So that's more, to be honest, you're the one that's doing everything. So it's your expertise, it's your knowledge on the charts and the discipline to go out there and know how to trade. So yeah, honestly, big props to you, because what you're doing genuinely is amazing. To go from not knowing trading to a funded trader full time is a lot of people's dream. So yeah, you're definitely living it. Do you take a lot of holidays? Like, do you actually get to reap the rewards of being a full-time trader?
Sorry, I didn't get the...
Do you get to enjoy like the lifestyle that comes with trading? Let's say the added freedom, let's say, or you don't have to report into anyone.
Yeah, right, definitely. No, you don't have to report to anyone, and they give you like freedom in general, to be... I like the fact that you can be rewarded based on, your skills, because it's a real job. People have to treat like a job, like an electrician, with nobody can come. I cannot be an electrician, and an electrician cannot be a trader. So you have to learn the job and put hours in. There is no easy money in the game, because if you feel like this is an easy money, and you don't respect trading won't respect you back, and
he'll take your money.
So honestly, you have to treat it seriously, and like it's a real skill to learn. Some people, but I know I still have a lot to learn. I'm still learning as I'm going. That's why I'm trading seriously as I put hours in the chart, because I feel like the more months and weeks I improve more and more, in my strategy and my trading.
Yeah. Okay, awesome, man. So now I want to send a message to the traders that are currently taking a lot of challenges, but they might be failing a lot of them. If you had to narrow it down and make it concise, what are 3 key things that an unprofitable trader could do to get profitable?
It's number 1 for me is to improve your risk reward. This is the most important, because this is a probability thing, right? So risk reward is number 1. Learn how to accept losses, because my first experience, with losses was very bad. I would very feel bad about myself. I'm a terrible trader. Why I lost? I will feel very down with myself. So you have to know how to lose, and you have to know how to win. But when you know how to win, you will not feel overconfident, and the same day you would go like you won nothing. And this is most important, And secondly, learn learn your emotion, and learn. I don't know how to say it, but learn your emotion, and learn how to keep it calm in your head. Like how to manage trade, and try to learn a strategy that suits you. This is most important, because what suits me, big risk reward, maybe people don't like it. Maybe they will not feel like, maybe some people would like to have a 1-to-2 risk reward ratio, have a fixed target price, or they will have to have like a mechanical strategy. They don't like price action. They just have to have a mechanical strategy. And if it works for them, perfect for them, Everybody have to have their own strategy, and don't listen to gurus on YouTube and stuff telling about strategy. It's not terrible advice, to be honest, but only one people can change yourself is you, and you have to put work in. Because if you don't put the works in and you expect things to happen to you, nothing will happen to you, and in 10 years you will still be in the same situation.
Exactly.
Start to see it. Take the chart, concentrate on 1 to 2 symbols, and learn it by heart. If you want to go back to the 6 months, you can have website and you press play and you start to see the price action.
Yeah.
You know, it really, for me, people need to sit and learn to chart, because I'm a fully manual trader, and this is like what works for, I think, for the manual traders, and always be up to date, you know, with the datas.
Yeah.
With how gold behaved, how your USD behaved. Every day you have to be updated. This is honestly my advice to people, and it's painful. Honestly, it's painful because you every morning I wake up wanting to quit.
Yeah.
Every morning I will say, I was a finance manager. I was earning quite a bit, you know, and why would I left that to go to that misery? You know, I was feeling like that, you know, for months. So really, you have to overcome this. You have to overcome this, because a lot of time, you know, I wanted to quit and stop and say it's not worth it. You know, this trading thing is not working. It's a scam and thing. But it's not a scam. Trading is open to everybody. It's just a skills that you need to learn and to put it in practice. That's really what it comes to.
Yeah. And you know what? That's 3 absolute gems. And I think that's actually a great way to actually end the interview. I think, yeah, that's a huge amount of value that you just dropped for all traders on the scale, whether you are unprofitable, beginner, all the way to being an experienced advanced trader. So again, Kabil, I just want to thank you for your time. Thank you genuinely from everyone at BrightFunded. We really appreciate all of your kind words and you coming on to share your experience. Yeah, hopefully everyone gets the amount of value that you've pretty much given to us. And hopefully we can do something again in the future. If you're ever down in London, we'd love to have a sit down with you and just maybe go into more detail about a few things. But yeah, Absolutely. Thank you so much again, man.
Thank you so much. It was my pleasure, and I really give my hope, and I hope every trader can become profitable. You know, and thank you again for your time, and thank you, BrightFunded, also.
100%, man. All right, thank you so much, and again, thank you very much for everyone for tuning in. We hope you got a banger from this one, because it definitely is. And stay tuned for more. So yeah, thank you again, Kabil, one more time, and we'll catch up soon. Okay.
Thank you.
See you later, brother. Take care.
And that is a wrap. Thank you again for tuning in to today's episode. We hope you got a ton of value from our interview with Kabil. If you have any questions whatsoever for our funded traders, please be sure to pop it in the comments and it will ask in any of our future episodes. If you haven't already, please be sure to like, subscribe and comment, and then stay tuned for future episodes. Thank you again for tuning in.